Alright, what's up guys? Today we continue our starter runs where I will be making a completely fresh file and picking a starter and seeing if we could beat the run. Doing this to just gather some information so I can make a better beginner guide for new players. So fun fact, the demo that I played only had Cherufe and Jotun. So this will be my first time going to be playing as Nixe, and then the next episode will be as Minikawa, so... I'm interested, which monster do we get? So we're water and earth. Interesting. It was actually cool how it came to you. It like slithered over. Like it was underwater or something. Okay, so they give us Tazelworm. That makes sense. Oh, I kind of went into this quick. I forgot I normally analyze everything. Okay, we can do that here. Cool. Alright, so Nixe, its signature trait is Toxic Tides. Whenever it receives or applies healing, it poisons the enemy. So, not only are you being defensive, but you're being offensive with this. If you like damage over time builds and stuff, you might enjoy Nixe. It has a Leeching Strike. It does 2 hits for 3 damage. That's how you read that. The first number is how many hits will go out, and the second number is how much damage each hit will go for. So this is actually really strong. So not only is it doing 6 damage, but it's doing an AoE heal by healing everyone for 5. Since we're healing, we're also going to be poisoning the enemy. And then we have Restore. It's a 3x3 heal and generates 3 random Aether. So the balls next to the actions is how much Aether you need to use it. So we're using 2 Aether, a Earth and Water because of the color, but we're generating 3, so it's +1. That's really good. I think they buffed Nixe since the last time I played with her. I don't remember her being this good. And as you can see, our perk is Aether +1. That means we generate 1 more Aether than the normal monster. That's really good, as Aether is the lifeblood of this game and determines if you could do actions, which we can right now because I have no Aether at the top if you look at it, while the Tazelworm has 1 fire one. So when you normally don't have Aether, you're going to be resorting to your basic attack, which will generate us a Water and Earth Aether since that's our default element. Alright. So, since Tazelworm, you see at the left of its HP as a blue diamond, that means it's weak to water. So we're just going to do Leeching Strike and break its poise right here. So this is a game just telling you to capture it since, you know, it's a creature capture game. You want the monster on your team. And now you could just kill it and get some XP. If you could ever kill a monster, always try to do the most damage. So this is only doing 4, this is doing 6. The reason for that is because right after this... Oh, we also did 10 damage instead of 6 because when the enemy is broken, that diamond to the left of the HP, you do 50% more damage. So yeah, this is why you wanted to do more damage right here, because there's a worthiness system. The better you do in combat, the better points you get at the end. So instead of doing 6 damage or 4 damage, we did 12. No, we did 10 because of the broken, and we got 2 worthiness for that. It might be every 10 damage dealt is the threshold of 1 worthiness. Alright, so every time you defeat a monster, they drop loot. And I think there was one more thing I wanted to go over before. Oh. So Toxic Tides, I didn't explain how the poison works. So since we're healing for 5, it doesn't mean we get 5 poison. It's just every time healing it goes out, you get 1 poison stack on the enemy. So yeah, it's not as broken as, oh, I just healed all my allies for 5 and I put 5 poison on the enemy? No. That would be ridiculously broken. Alright, so on shrines, you get to summon creatures that you capture along the run. You need souls to do that, but the game does provide you with 4 souls. Or 3 souls. I think we got one from the loot. Alright. So I'm trying to think how this run's gonna go. Actually, since Nixie's a healer, I think we're gonna go and take the Cockatrice. So far with Jotun and Cherufe, I captured Orthrus, which obviously carried. But this time we'll try out something different, show you how a tank healer DPS combo works. Alright. So if you look at the Wolpentinger, it's using Bubble Trick, and it's coming to the bottom, and it's going to hit my Tazzleworm. The reason I know that is because if you look at the attack, it has like a shape sticking out, and it's all the way at the bottom, right? That means it's going to hit the southmost monster, which is Tazzleworm. Now, if it was on the top, then it would be hitting my Nixe. As we can see, the Wolpentinger has a brown diamond, which means it's weak to earth, so I could just poison slash it right here. Break its poise, reduce the amount of damage going out, and now I'm going to do a leeching strike to guarantee it's dead, because we're doing a hit with our Nixe and then poisoning the enemy. So as you see, the Cockatrice, it's doing an action, and it has that shape sticking out all the way to the top. So we know our Nixie's about to get hit. So the interesting synergy... Oh, I don't think I went over that, actually. So, Tazzleworm, if it crits, it puts poison on the enemy. And then for every poison stack, you get 4% crit chance. So you can see how Nixe and Tazzleworm has synergy already. And this one is just a 2 hit for 4 damage and puts 2 poison on the enemy, which activates its signature trait. And in Fire Claws, it's a 4 hit but 2 damage. This can seem bad compared to this one, but remember, the more hits you get out, the higher chance we have of critting, which can apply more poison. So, if you're ever in a situation where you're thinking of who should attack first, I would attack first with your Nixe. Get the poison on the enemy. And now I'm going to attack with the increased chance of critically hitting. We crit once there. Crit numbers in this game are yellow. So there we go. Very well done. Ooh. So Aether Cycle is really good. Every time you consume 7 Aether, you just generate a wild Aether. So by default, you have the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, wind element. Wild Aether counts as any of those. So let's say, for example, I was trying to use Restore, but I only have 1 water Aether. Well, the wild Aether can substitute the earth that I need. So Aether Cycle is pretty good. When you reach 5 Aether of the same element, purges one of the same element, applies power. So Nixie's a healer. They don't really care about getting power. Right now in the early game, this is very hard to achieve by getting additional Aether, so I'm not going to take that. Now this one's pretty interesting. Whenever healing allies for 50 or more in the same turn, triggers poison on all enemies. Now this is pretty hard to do. Yeah, so we have a single target that's healing for 9. And then we have this, when we have 3 allies, it'll heal for 15. Healing for 50 is kind of out of the question right now. So, for that reason, we're taking Aether Cycle. Now, don't worry, that doesn't seem like a unachievable number. It's just our starting actions can achieve that. So whenever you see this purple icon, just press the pop-up prompt and you'll get a height advantage. The reason you want a height advantage is because you're actually able to do more poise damage to an enemy when you start a fight. Oh, this is just one of many NPCs you'll see across your journey. Right now, they don't do their main function. They're just there to give you a blank card. The game's intending for you to capture multiple monsters since it's your first time playing. So, Mandragora likes to sneak attack us. You can't preemptive strike them because they're hiding in the ground. So you can counter attack, which is what we did. So I know the Wormling is not using a damaging skill even though Tatzelworm is getting hit. The reason I know that is because if you press Inspect, whatever that is, on the bottom right for you, I'm on PlayStation controller, so that's square. I could now open up this, which has a ton of information. I know it could seem overwhelming, but you could go over to the enemy and it shows you what they're doing. I already knew that was Fire Ritual just because, you know, I've been playing this game for a while, but that's why I'm not going to actually break the poise, even though I have the option to, because Mandragora over there that's broken, I'd rather hit Mandragora because it's a healer, and like a good old, you know, RPG game, if you could kill the healer of the enemy team, that makes gives you a higher chance of winning the fight, because now you don't have to worry about the enemy being healed up and prolonging the fight, you know? So normally I would leave Mandragora alone because it's poison and would just die, but since it has a heart symbol, that's regeneration. That means it's going to heal up some HP before the poison ticks. So I'm going to actually use my Tatzelworm here to kill it. And then I'm going to pop the Wormling, even though it's not doing any damage, just so we could get some decent damage out and put some poison on it. And now next turn, we're going to kill it. So here's an interesting spot, right? I could just kill it right out. The reason you don't want to kill it right out, if you can help yourself, is because you want to be using actions to be getting as much worthiness, like I said at the start. So, since we have a supporting action, I could heal up, and now I could kill. So not only are we getting some more worthiness for our Nixe, Tatzelworm gets to do some damage and he gets worthiness too. Alright, let's see what Tatzelworm learns. On every 3 crits, applies 2 poison, then triggers the poison. This could be a good option. So we'll see. This is an aura. So aura in the game, it benefits all allies, like it says. Normally, a trait is only for the user. But, oh, I guess I should have explained it right here. I forgot this had aura on it. But yeah. So this means all allies will have a 15 crit chance and they'll get 2 more crit damage. As you notice, our Tatzelworm has critical chance 25, while our Nixe doesn't have any critical chance. Monsters that don't have that perk means they can't crit to begin with. So this allows our Nixe to crit when they normally wouldn't, but only a 15% chance. And like I said, Nixie's a support. They're usually trying to heal, so this one's okay. And then we have here Rejuvenating Heal. On any water action from an ally, applies regeneration to the ally with the lowest amount. Regeneration is just a heal over time effect at the start of every turn. This one's okay, but since I can foresee this run, Tatzelworm's going to be our main damage dealer. And I'm going to need him to do as much damage as possible, so we're going to take Toxic Assault, because our Nixie's going to be applying poison, which will increase our critical hit chance. I'm going to apply 2 poison when we trigger our 3 crits, and then we trigger the poison right away. This will allow us to do more damage than increasing my crit chance, which I'll just naturally have a decent amount thanks to Nixe being in the party. Oh. Yeah, we're having a slow morning. Next time one pops up, I'll explain it. Alright, so over here is equipment. Equipment's very good. Just getting a base effect on each of your monsters will increase your likelihood of finishing fights, taking less damage, and just finishing quickly. This one over here is an artifact. These are permanent effects, but they have limited usage each biome. But over here is the Aether Spring. This is a permanent effect for the whole run. So whether you win or lose, it'll be active until the run's over. So I always suggest no matter if you're a beginner or a veteran, Aether Spring is just like the best room to go into because it just increases your chances of winning. By getting something on this floor, it will ripple through the whole run. And whenever you come into these rooms, you want to pick it up ASAP so it affects all the battles that you go into. So right here is the shrine. Since we caught a cockatrice, we can now pick him up and have our third teammate. So now the fights will get harder because we have 3 teammates. But the game is programmed that you were supposed to have your third teammate here. So even if we didn't pick him up, the fights were already going to get harder because of that. Okay, so here's the Aether Spring. So, equipment from random loot drops, basically whenever you defeat an enemy, has a 35 chance to be a higher tier. The game does have the looter genre element of rarities. There's common, rare, and epic. So if we could skip a tier, that's going to be really good. And this one, whenever we finish combat, we get 2 extra gold. It may not seem like a lot, but my suggestion for all players is to defeat every monster on every floor, because it nets you experience, which helps you learn traits and actions, and you'll just naturally accumulate some extra gold. But I usually like the fire one over the earth, even though it's RNG, just because skipping a tier is usually worth the difference in the gold. And once you accumulate enough equipment, the ones that you aren't using, you could sell them off for gold, which almost makes up for not taking that gold perk. Also, I don't think I explained how experience works in this game. Whether we're fighting 1 enemy, 2 enemies, or 3, we always get 1 experience per battle. So you'll notice our cockatrice will go to get 1 XP, even though we're going to fight 3 enemies right now. Oh, and always try to get the height advantage if you can, because as you can see, it indicates that we have the high ground, so we get 1 extra poise break. So unfortunately, this team does not... No, it does. But Cockatrice is my tank. Let's see. So Ooze is a poison / tank monster. So it's going to be emitting poison on our allies. And that, just like our Tatzelworm, wants us to be poisoned, so it has better synergy and higher crit chance. So I'm actually going to take out the damage dealer of the Tatzelworm, because it's going to be harder for me to kill the Ooze than it will for me to kill the Tatzelworm, especially because we have Nixe, which could break the poise, and then we could just beat him up real quick. Orthrus is, we use them in 2 runs, but if this is your first time watching one of my videos, Orthrus can just seem like meh, but it actually scales really well, but not the ones you fight in the wild. So, like I said, our game plan right here is to break the Tatzelworm. Now that we have 3 allies, you can notice this heals 3 times, so that's why it's applying 3 poison now. Right here, we're going to do heat. Actually, we should go over Cockatrice, because I forgot to do that too. So Cockatrice, as Retaliate, whenever it takes any form of damage, it will trigger. That's how Retaliate works. And it'll get itself a temporary power. And every 7 times you trigger that, it puts 10 burns on the enemy. So temporary power increases the damage you deal for that 1 instance, or 1 action. So, as you can see right here, we have Flurry. It hits 3 times for 3 damage. So if we had 2 temporary power, that would mean we would hit for 5 damage each hit, and then we lose the temporary power. So it scales really well since we have a 3x3 attack. Now, he is an interesting one. It may seem weird to some people. It's a free action. As you notice with our other two monsters, whenever you use an action, their turn ends. A free action, however, allows us to use that and then use another action. It may not seem good because we're hurting ourselves doing this, taking 2 damage. But remember, retaliate triggers whenever we take damage. So it's like you're self-activating heat to get more damage. So I'm going to do just that to try to get our signature trait quicker to activating. And we're just going to hit this Tatzelworm. Now, I'm just going to kill it because there's nothing else we could really do that's impactful. Alright. So see how the ooze is using an action and it has all the pegs lighting up? That means it's an area of effect attack. And it's hitting all allies. So, the one cool thing about poison is it counts as earth damage. So technically we could read that as the ooze has 3 poise instead of 4, because it's going to take the poison damage at the start of the turn and break itself. Unfortunately, I don't think I can break the ooze unless I get lucky here with a crit. So let me just set up. And we're going to hit the Orthrus. Get 3 poison on the ooze. Remember, every stack of poison gives us 4% crit chance. So now we have a 20% chance. So we just need 1 crit, because when you crit in this game, you break an extra poise. If you are breaking poise. And right there, we got 2 crits, which is Chef's Kiss. Mwah. That's exactly what we needed. And now we could attack over here. It's already hitting our Cockatrice, which is good. We wanted that to happen. And Cockatrice, the attack we used gave us dodge. Dodge buff allows you to dodge the second hit that was going out. But the Orthrus hit for 3, so it didn't look like it did much. Alright, right here we are going to heal up. Because the fight's over. And remember, you want to get as much Aether as you can. I'm just going to hit him with a basic attack to get some damage out. And now we're going to do the biggest hit to get the most XP. Interesting, we didn't get a single crit there. That's unfortunate. And like I said, we fought 3 enemies, but as you can see, we just get 1 XP because it's per fight. Alright, look at that. We got a rear armor right away. The base effect is at the start of your turn, you shield yourself for 3. It has evasion plus 10. This just goes perfect on our Cockatrice. We're going to try to get our Cockatrice a redirect action. And if we do, I'll go over that when we get that. Alright, so we have Fire Claws that does 4 hits, so we can break this whenever we want. I'd rather hit the Wolpentingers because we have an Earth action that hits twice. And putting them at 1 means I could break if I need to. So that's what it will do. We also could potentially poison them. The poison will break as well. So let's see. We have 2 Wolpentingers and they're both hitting. Alright. Let's see where the poison goes first, since that's RNG. Goes on the one with the lowest. Okay, so it went here. I could break the top one, but if I crit here, I could break this one. And I know from the thumbnail, this one does more damage than this one, so YOLO. 1 crit, Oh, we did not get the crits. Alright, well, that's unfortunate. Alright, we'll just do some more damage here so we could kill it next turn, I guess. As you saw, that hit really hard, 14 damage, that hurts. Alright, there actually, we saw the 10 evasion come into effect from the armor. We were able to dodge that hit. Okay, so we're going to attack down here, and either the Wolpentinger gets the poison, which would be the best outcome, or the Cockatrice. So let's see what happens. Okay. we're not getting lucky, huh? Alright, I'm gonna pop this one, so we don't have to worry about damage going out. And I'm just going to kill this one. The Cockatrice is using a healing action, so I'm not too scared of it. So burn in this game does not just do damage at the start of your turn like Pokemon. Burn only, well, there's a few ways to trigger it, but burn on your turn triggers if you use an action. So since I'm about to do this, I'm going to take 2 damage. So be mindful if you have burn on you, because you could kill yourself before it's the enemy's turn. Alright, we did that because we were trying to get more poison stacks to increase our critical hit chance, but as you saw, we got lucky. Or unlucky, sorry. And we did not get a single crit there, which is unfortunate. Alright, so far this team is very slow. Need our Cockatrice to pick it up. Let's see, on level 3 you learn an action. So shields self for 2, or twice, for 7, and applies redirect. If I get hit, it triggers all poison. That's really good. But I want that for my Cockatrice, not me. Alright, right here we have Toxic Healing. Heals for 18. Applies 3 poison to all enemies, and triggers all the poison. This is pretty good. I might think about that one. This one does 2 hits for 4 damage. Deals an additional hit, 2 for each poison stack. That's decent. Since we're a support role, I think we'll take the Toxic Heal. Because I want this on Cockatrice, I would want this on Tasselworm. So yeah, I just want to do my role better. And we get not that good of traits. Allies gain 5% critical hit chance on enemies for every burn stack. Fortunately, we don't have a way of really applying burn unless we trigger or retaliate, but remember you need to do that 7 times to activate that. So that's usually on round 3, 4 maybe, and that's being generous. Incorruptible is probably the one I'll take. Every time we take damage, we shield ourselves, and if this activates 3 times, we cleanse 3 corruption, which I have not gone over, but this is good. And then whenever burn triggers on an enemy, applies burn to the enemy that has the lowest. Like I said, we're not really applying burn, so it's really hard to get this going right now. So the best option is Incorruptible. Ooh, we got another rare item. On support action, cleanses 2 debuffs and applies a temporary power to an ally. It has a rare perk where whenever we do an action has a 50% chance to generate a random Aether. That's really good. And then we just do increased wind damage. So the only one that has wind damage is our Cockatrice. Let's see, I'm curious. Does this count? So funny enough, if we do put that, I think we will, because we have a free action. which counts as Aether chance activating. And then if we do a basic attack or an action, it counts again. So we have 2 chances of triggering that. It has the wind damage +1, which will activate on our flurry, which is really nice. So we get more value from there. So we're going to swap items by taking that instead. And now someone could take this armor. I want my healer to stay alive, so we're just going to give it to our healer. So far we're actually getting really good luck with equipment dropping for us. What the hell's going on? Okay, that was weird. It wasn't picking up and I was pressing the dash button. Okay, so we picked up that incorruptible that cleanses corruption. So notice how our Nixe has 6 and our cockatrice has 6 in purple under their HP, but our Tazzleworm have 0. That means when we start combat, instead of being at max health like you normally are, if you have corruption, you subtract that number from your max HP, and that's what you start the fight as. So, as the UI suggests, when we start the combat, Nixe will be at 31 and Cockatrice will be at 40, while Tazzleworm will be fully healed up at 31. So when you cleanse corruption, you reduce that number so you start closer to your max HP. It's next to impossible to not have corruption, so if you have corruption, don't be worried, you're not doing anything wrong. That's just the game mechanic. So, like normal, we're going to do Leeching Strike. I'm going to try to get that poison, and hopefully 33% chance on the Wolfensinger. Beautiful. That's what we wanted. Alright, now we're going to use Heat on our Cockatrice, which, funny enough, since this counts as a support, we get 2 an extra stack of temporary power instead of just getting 1. As you can see now, that's hitting for 6. Remember, that was a 3x3. So, I'm actually going to kill this Orthrus that's attacking my Nixe, because this one's attacking the bottom row, which is hitting our Cockatrice, which I want to get hit because he's the tank. And then my Tazzleworm should be able to clean this up. Unfortunately, I do have to use an Aether here, but yeah, we want to reduce the amount of damage that's going out. Remember, the poison counts as earth damage. That's why the Wolfensinger got broken there. And yeah, it's looking nice. We're just going to do a free action, of course. Get this stacking. I can kill that Wolfensinger, but I'd rather kill this Orthrus. Because it's attacking our Tazzleworm. Tazzleworm's going to take a big chunk of damage. Okay, so it's at 3 HP, has 3 poison, so it's just dead. Alright, so I could hit this Wolfensinger, maybe get a crit or 2. Because it's hitting our Cockatrice, which we do want. Alright, nice. Okay, now the team's going pretty well. Since poison triggers at the start, remember whenever we take damage, it triggers the retaliate. So as you can see, Cockatrice is scaling pretty well. 8, 3x8. That boy's gonna do some damage. I'm actually going to attack right here with my basic attacks to get some damage dealt. We're just going to regularly heal with Restore to get some healing. And then we'll let our Cockatrice get the killing blow. So everyone gets some worthiness. The reason you want your worthiness to ramp up quickly and level up your monsters is because you get a permanent buff on that monster for the rest of the game. By game, I mean like your save file. You keep this buff forever. So whether you win or lose this run, if you get to level 2, you keep that level 2 bonus. So that's why it's important to try to always squeeze out as much worthiness as you can. Alright, so we have Explosive Burst. This gives us access to a water attack, which our Tasselworm does not have access to, so that's pretty good. It gives us a 25 crit chance on it, which helps scale with our Toxic Assault, and if we crit, it purges an enemy's Aether, which also acts like a defensive attack, as that could sometimes reduce the amount of damage going out, because if they're using an action, that's they're using a water fire attack, and we cleanse or we purge a water, well, if they have no extra water, then they can't use explosive bursts, right? So they have to resort to using a basic attack. This one's pretty decent. Puts 2 regeneration on all allies, and then shields for 2. So that would be 4 shield and regeneration, which is heal over time. But this is more of a support defensive thing that I rather have on my Nixe, if anything. So I'm going to pass on that. And then this one applies 2 regeneration to myself, then consumes all or up to 10 regeneration. Sorry, I remembered the pre-nerf version, because this action is completely busted, but you have to build around it for it to be really good. So for that, we'll just take the Explosive Burst. Alright. I believe we did everything. So you could open up your map by pressing the share button on a PlayStation controller, and any of these symbols on the map, you could just fast travel to. That's how I was able to do that. So this right here is a pretty good event. It's equivalent exchange. You can give up some of your gold to get Aether Crystals. Aether Crystals are meta progression in this game. If you've never played a roguelike, meta progression are buffs that you could purchase, and they affect all your runs, which will increase your chance of winning. So most of you who read that and it's your first time playing, you're like, oh yeah, I want that. But there's the catch. If you're spending your gold to get Aether Crystals, you lower your chances of winning this run, because gold resets every run. While Aether Crystals, you accumulate that over multiple runs. So that's 62 down there. That will stay 62. If we lose right here and we start a next run, we'll be at 62. Our gold, however, will be at 0. And if we give up some Aether Crystals, we'll get gold, which will increase our chance of going further in the run. And therefore, you have a higher chance of just getting more Aether Crystals. So I always go for this option. But, you know, depending if you find yourself a fast learner, or maybe you know yourself and you need a few repetitions before you believe you could win in a game, then go for the Aether Crystals. I obviously have over 400 hours in this game, so I'm confident without a doubt that we'll make it further than that Aether Crystals will do for us. So, question mark, this is gives you a random NPC. The scales is the merchant. I never go to a merchant. That true? Okay, how about this? I almost never go to a merchant. The reason is because when you defeat a boss, the next room is always a merchant inside it. So there's no reason to spend your gold before the boss fight, when you'll just get a merchant afterwards and you'll be able to spend your gold there. Now, some may be like, oh, well, the merchant will help me get stronger. Yes and no. As you can see, we only have 19 gold. Usually the good merchant options cost anywhere from 15 to 20. So going to the merchant will only allow us to really buy like one thing. So you rather accumulate your gold and use it after boss fights, because you know there's a guaranteed merchant there. So for that, since this one's RNG, I'd rather go here and pick up an artifact, which has charges, and every time you defeat a boss, it refreshes those charges, so they become almost like a temporary buff, and you get to choose when you want them. Let's see what she gives us. Alright, we get to pick one. So, we could take the Aether Whip. It does do damage. 2 hits for 2 damage, so 4. And we get to steal an Aether. Stealing an Aether is almost like purging, but instead of just purging and canceling from the enemy, we actually take that Aether and give it to ourselves. So that's pretty good. And then we have Heroic Horn, which gives us a permanent power for that fight. This increases our damage by 1. It's like the temporary power we were getting for Cockatrice. Remember that 3x3, it went to a 3x6, then a 3x8. So it could increase your damage a lot. But unlike the temporary power, this one stays on until the fight's over. So this is really good. And we're actually going to take this to increase our damage of our Tatzelworm in boss fights or fights we might be struggling with, so we could finish them quicker and reduce the amount of corruption we take. Alright, here's a Mandragora hiding in the ground. Alright, what do we have? So we have a Fire Fang going on our Nixe. Ooh, our Nixie's getting hit twice. Dang. Really bad RNG here, huh? Well, we can cancel the action here. So we're going to do that. First, I'm going to attack with Leeching Strikes, see where this poison goes. Okay, beautiful. That increases our crit chance on the Mandragora, which we're going to attack anyway. And we did get a crit. Beautiful. And now I don't have any Aether left, unfortunately. But we're just going to hit this Mandragora, because remember, it's the healer of the group. You want to kill the healer if you can. So you don't have to prolong the fight. That's just the tutorial for corruption finally popping up. I already explained to you what corruption was, though, so you're good. Alright, now we got some Aether to play with. So this, we could heal ourselves, and we took a decent amount of damage, put 3 poison on all enemies, and then trigger them. But I think we're just going to go by hitting the Mandragora. I'm just going to basic attack the Mandragora, get it out of here. Trigger Heat to get another power. And just do as much damage as I can on the Orthrus, because I know I could pop this Wormling whenever I want. I already know by the thumbnail it's not doing anything dangerous, hence me not really caring about it. Remember to stay hydrated, guys. Drink that water. Alright, so now I know the Wormling is doing something dangerous. I know what that thumbnail does, and you don't want that to go out. So, we're going to Leeching Strike to break some poise and put poison on it. Because poison goes on the target that has the lowest amount. Since it adds 0, it's guaranteed to go on it. I'm going to go do an Explosive Burst to not only break it, but to hopefully get the crit there to purge some Aether. And now our Cockatrice can break the Orthrus because we're hitting for 3 and it only has 2 wind poise. So that breaks it and just gets it out of there. The poison will kill the Wormling, and yep, just like that, we're doing well. The name of the game is try to break actions or break the poise of the enemy when they're doing a scary action, and mitigate the amount of damage that you're taking each turn. Alright, we picked up Boots. You're the only one that doesn't have one. Increase the damage of debuffs against enemies. That's great. It will increase the poison. So let's see, actually. Since it's doing that, Nixe is actually the one applying the poison while we're just triggering crits. So I'm going to swap that around, just so the poison that Nixe puts out is more potent. We'll come back to that event that I just passed. I believe it's the Cleansing Pool. Basically cleanses corruption on your allies. So what I like to do is finish all the fights in the area first. That way I may accumulate more poison than intended, right? Or, sorry, poison. More corruption than I would like. And then I go cleanse so we get more value. Because if we cleanse right now, we're only cleansing our Nixe and Cockatrice. Tasselworm might get some corruption in this fight, so I'd rather get the full value and cleanse him as well. Once again, Fire Claws, I could break this Cockatrice whenever I want, so there's no reason to do the initiative on it, since the poison gain isn't going to help. The Poise Break here might help, but if we get 1 crit on this Wolpentinger, I could break it with Tasselworm, so I'm going to do that. And it's doing a scary action, so I really want the poison from this Leeching Strike to go on the Wolpenzinger. Fortunately, we lost the 30%. We have a raw 25% chance to crit. Maybe I get lucky. And we did get lucky. Thank you. Alright, so I'm going to do Heat. Get that temporary power. And then, yeah, we could just straight up kill this Wolpenzinger so we don't even have to think about it. That is fine. Fire Ritual's fine. Alright, what's happening? So, the Cockatrice and the Wolpenzinger are both doing something. Out of the two, the Cockatrice is doing something much more scarier. So we're actually going to Fire Claw the Cockatrice. Break the Poise, so we don't have to deal with that. Our Nixe cannot crit, so we're just going to hit this Wormling just to put its poise low. So if I do need to break it next turn, we can easily do that. I'm just going to go and deal some damage here on the Broken Cockatrice to get that 50% juicy damage bonus. Fortunately, our Nixe took some damage. Its corruption is building up, but I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so now the Wormling's doing something that's a little scary, but I'm going to go and kill the Cockatrice to guarantee that the poison goes on the Wormling. Oh, is that not how it works? Okay, well, that was a fail. I thought that was going to go to the Wormling since the Cockatrice was dead. Interesting. Well, this is doing the most damage, so let's hit over here first. Get some on damage with our Tasselworm. And now our Cockatrice is going to attack. Get some more damage dealt, and we're good to go. What do we learn? Okay, we get a form of redirect. That's good. We get the reflective strike that the enemy was trying to do. I don't want the middle one, just because I'm really trying to get redirect so we could take some damage off from our allies. Redirect, if the enemy was, like, let's say in that example, was attacking our Nixe, redirect puts it to you, kind of like the name implies. But if there's multiple enemies attacking, you could only redirect one enemy, so... And you can't control who you redirect. So it's a bit finicky. This is a free action, but you can't use multiple free actions. You can only use one free action. I really like Heat. You know what? Yeah, I'll pick up Reflective Strike. Let's think about it. I mean, if we redirect ourselves, we're not really mitigating anything, because this does damage and puts redirect. Where this, it gives us redirect, and then I could do Flurry and get a dodge stack and help mitigate damage by dodging it. Hmm. Both of these aren't the best redirect options we could get. Fortunately, I don't have a reroll skill, otherwise I would do that and try to fish for something better. I'm going to take the redirect strike just because we are taking advantage of our equipment with heats pretty well. Oh, lovely. We got the skill reroll after the fight has concluded. Alright, so my Nixe has 12 corruption. That's not the greatest, but I could always just heal at the start of the fight. So instead, we're going to interact with this altar. The soul altar is really good. It gives you a buff for the next 2 fights. So I could generate 2 wild Aether. I could have a dodge on all my allies. Or I could have 3 regen on all my allies. Out of all these options, I think I'm going to start off with the wild Aether. Aether is the most important resource in the game. It allows you to do actions, otherwise you're just sitting there doing basic attacks, and that'll just allow us to scale into the fight much sooner than turn 2 or 3. So, right here we have the choice of room. Where would I like to go? Since I said I didn't really like the Reflective Strike, the hat over here is the Witch Lily that you had in Zone 1. Like I said, the Merchant, you want to go after the boss room. This bull skull icon indicates that the next room is a boss fight, so that makes this obsolete. And this Saturn looking icon is a random, it's like when you finish the fight and you pick up the loot, it's basically that, but it's rare. It's rare or epic. I'd rather go to the Witch and see if I could re-roll Reflective Strike to a better action. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we get Winter's Guard. Shields all our allies, cleanses debuffs from them, and puts redirect on me. Now this is good. We get Explosive Rush. That's also really good. 4 hits for 5 damage, and then we deal 5 damage to ourselves. That can usually seem as bad, but remember we're trying to retaliate, so that helps us trigger our retaliate. Actually, when you think about it, since we have heat and our equipment, well, this is, if we have the Aether to do it, this is 4x7. And then the next turn, since we're hitting ourselves here, and then you could heat again with the drum, it'll then be 4x8, and if the enemy hits us, it's 4x9. So this is doing a lot of damage. And we have Nixe on the team to heal, so the 5 damage to us doesn't really seem like a downside. Also, whenever you do damage to yourself, it doesn't corrupt you. In case anyone's wondering, like, why would you corrupt yourself? You don't corrupt yourself. Firestorm, decent option, but we're not really going for crit build here, and we don't have burn on the enemies to really trigger this. Also, I probably should have went over this a while ago. If you see the actions, you notice how Firestorm's in yellow text while the other two's in white? That's because if you look at the bottom of the Aether costs, Winter Guard says tank, Explosive Rush says tank, right? But if you look at the bottom of Firestorm, it says burn and critical. That's a Maverick action. So, in our types, we are part burn, right? In order to get a Maverick action, you need one of those 2 types on yourself, and then an ally who has the other part. Since it's burn and critical, our Tatzelworm is critical, and we're burn, hence why we could learn this action when you normally can't. Because if Tatzelworm was in the team, or any monster that didn't have the critical tag, we couldn't be able to learn this. But like I said, I was fishing for a redirect, and this is a good option, so we'll take that. Alright. So, remember, always try to get the height advantage if you can, especially in a boss fight. I know at this position we just have to be patient, and the Warden, that's the name of that boss, will eventually come close to us that we could jump him. So, you just have to be patient. I know maybe an extra poise doesn't seem that worth it to you, but it could be the difference that you break it this turn and next turn. Alright, come on, buddy. It's not cooperating. And yeah, like if the game had like an aggro system S where if we go on the ground and it sees us and it comes to us, that would help out. But yeah, this game doesn't do that right now. So I'm at the whims of the RNG of the movement pattern. Nope. No, you were coming to the right spot. Come here, come here. Alright, I'll give it like a few more seconds, then we'll just go fight it normally, I guess. Although part of me wants to see how long it takes for the game to change the movement so it actually comes over here so we can jump it. How long do you guys think it'll take? I wonder if we break this box if it changes its movement, because maybe that's in the way of it coming over here. Let's see. Huh. Bruh. This is crazy. I swear you could jump it. I did it on the last 2 runs with Cherufe and Jotun. It's just being really stubborn here, I guess. Is this like RNG impossible? Alright. Thank you for your patience. I was just trying to showcase that you can start boss fights with the jump, but yeah, I guess the game just said no. You're not getting it. Alright, so unlike your normal enemies we were fighting, as you can see, the Warden has a white diamond. That means it is neutral. Any attack that we use will break its poise. And since we bought the Rogue Horn, we can now start building that up in this boss fight. Our Nixe is getting hit, as we could see, so that is a bit scary. Trying to think, what do we do here? I think I'm just going to attack. See how low we actually do get. Get some poison on it. If I get lucky, we could purge the Aether it's using, and it's only then going to do a basic hit instead. Or I could just go and start hitting it and try to ramp up some poison. I think I like that option better. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, we got the quad crit, boys! I mean, that's the best outcome. Alright, so when you break a boss, instead of them losing all actions, since they're bosses, they actually only lose 1. So this is fine, because the attack was going to our Nixe, but if we break the top one, then it's only doing a regular basic hit, and that's coming to our Cockatrice, so that's the ideal outcome. We got really lucky with that quad break. Or quad crit, sorry. Alright, so we're going to use the horn again. If this is your first time actually playing the game and you did break Warden, you should definitely capture it. I'm not capturing it because this is just a fresh file to demonstrate how this works. Alright. I'm gonna heat up again, get some power, and then go and hit this Warden. Warden is hitting our Nixe, unfortunately, but Nixe can eat that one hit for us. Unfortunately, we didn't get a single proc there with 10 stacks. You'd think you would get it with 10 stacks versus the 3 stacks we had, but that's RNG for you, I guess. Alright, so Warden did a buff where if you attack it, it will attack you back. That's really scary. It does a huge chunk of damage. So we're going to attack with our Tasselworm first. Because Tasselworm, unfortunately, does not have any support skills, meaning it has to attack the Warden. Thankfully, we did dodge a hit there. And now, I'm going to do Winter's Guard to protect us. And get rid of that weakness stack it has. And we will now just heal. Actually, I'm curious. Does this trigger its embrace? Let's see. It does. Okay, I learned something new. Cockatrice doing cockatrice things. Beautiful. Alright, the fight's pretty much done. I could kill it with whoever I want. Remember, if you are going to finish a fight, try to get the most amount of XP possible. So, we're just going to heal up here. 19 stacks of poison. That is a dead Warden for sure. And yeah, we should maybe see all crits again. Let's see. Okay, never mind. We only saw 2, but we were able to get the kill, so that's nice. Also, whenever you defeat the boss, the normal amount of XP you were getting goes up by 1. So since we were normally getting 1, we're now going to get 2 XP moving forward. We're not really gaining that much Aether on this team. We're using almost all the Aether we get every turn, so this isn't going to work. Poison no longer triggers at the start of the turn, but poison damage is doubled. This is pretty interesting when you think about it, because we do have 2 ways to trigger poison without it triggering at the start of the turn. We have Toxic Healing, and we have Toxic Assaults. So you can pick up Incubation, and it could be decent. And then this one, on Earth action from any ally, we apply poison to the enemy. So that means our Restore and Toxic Healing will do it, our Toxic Slash, and we did have Reflect Strike, but we took that off. Now, out of these options, I think we're going to take Incubation. While the poison damage at the start of each turn is nice, and it helps me break poise, keeping the poison stacks without them going down by 1 helps my Tasselworm crit easier and trigger its Toxic Assaults, which will do double damage, which will help me almost like snipe the enemies. So we'll go with that. Alright, whenever poison triggers on an enemy, applies poison to all enemies. We already just went over Toxic Earth. Now we have Toxic Lands. This is decent. I'd rather have this on Cockatrice, because whenever we take damage, that's when this triggers. You don't really want Tasselworm to be taking hits, because as you can see, out of the 3 monsters, it has the lowest amount of HP. So we're going to actually use our reroll here and see if we can get something better. those are better options. So we have Critical Aether, increases our critical hit chance by 20, and every 3 critical hits will now get Aether. That's really good. You could also take Critical Hybridization. It's an aura. Whenever an ally crits, they deal an extra 3 wild damage, which helps with poise breaks. Well, we're the only one really critting, so we'll probably not take that. And this one, Toxic Cycle, whenever allies apply 5 or more poison in the same turn, puts regen on all allies. This will activate. It's just, if we were going to take this, I would take this on Nixe. Remember, we're the damage dealer. This will increase our crit chance, which will allow us to do more damage, and it provides Aether to the team, so we could do actions every turn. So we'll take that. This is a second good option, but we're the only one that would be taking advantage of this. And I'd much rather have Aether. Alright, so like I said, after every boss fight, we have a guaranteed merchant right here. You also have a pot. You definitely want to talk to the bot, because as you can see, we have 16 corruption on our Nixe, right? This pot, by default, cleanses 15 of that right away on all allies. So, it's really nice. And now, here's the guaranteed merchant. Let's see. What can we buy? We could buy an upgraded shoes. Debuffs on our allies. We take 1 less. The belts. Whenever we interrupt an enemy, we have a 50% chance to get power. This is cute, but we don't really have a high, consistent way to interrupt enemies with this team that we're using. That's if you're capturing monsters, you may as well pick that up. Then we have Soul. There are some soul mechanics that we might want to interact in this biome, or Biome 3 if we get there, so I'm going to pick up a Soul, because we had the goal to also get a deck of cards. It consumes all your Aether and then gives you 7. But if you use this when you have really low Aether, then it just generates 7, which is really good. So we're going to pick that up too. And yeah, let's see. Well, we could get an equipment. But since all of us have an equipment already, it'll change the interaction with the knight to now be a 50-50. We could either exchange our current equipment for something of a higher tier, or if you like something you're using, he has the option of sometimes giving you upgrade. So we could take this from rare to epic, but it is a 50-50. And then obviously this is just random loot that you would get at the end of the fight, but upgraded. And like I said, the Aether Spring is a permanent buff for the rest of the run. The effects change on the biomes or the tiers you have. Since we already have level 1 tier from Biome 1, we can now get level 2 tier in Biome 2. So we're going to take that. The Biome 2 one, in my opinion, is like probably the best buff out of all of them. Because the Biome 2 gives you a permanent Aether generation at the start of your turn. So every turn, you're just generating 1 extra Aether you normally wouldn't have. And that may not sound like a lot, but trust me, it makes a hell of a difference. So we have fire or wind. So we're not using either one on Nixe. We are using fire here. And we are using wind here. Of the two... Well, we are also using fire on heat, huh? Of the two, I think I want my damage dealer to always be able to do damage. I could always heal up with Nixe if we can't mitigate damage with Cockatrice. That's like the perk of having a healer instead of just one dedicated tank slash support. Alright, so we have all new enemies. The Grimoire, which is this, can be pretty scary. It has its unique traits, Living Tome. For every Aether the allies consume, it builds up this resource, and then it could use that resource to do a free action, and then another action, like we normally are doing. So that can be very scary, big amount of burst damage. We have the Nosferatu, which I think is the scariest enemy of the ones you could fight in this biome, just because it hits really hard. As you can see, it has damage perk 1, 1, and then 2. So it's doing 4 more damage than it's supposed to, which makes it hit really hard. And then you have Gargoyle, which is like the tank of this biome. It's shielding up its allies and then hitting hard. So of the 3, we could see that the Nosferatu is already attacking our Nixe. We have the Grimoire hitting our Cockatrice, which we want. And then the Gargoyle is just buffing up. So out of these, I think we're going to get the Gargoyle into break range. So if I do need to break it next turn, we could do so. Perfect. We got the Nosferatu with the poison stacks. We're going to Fireclaw here and see if we could pop those shield. Okay, perfect. We got the 2 that we needed. And now since we're already taking the hit down here where we wanted it, I'm just going to use heat. And then we are going to hit this Nosferatu as much damage as we can to try and kill it. Alright, so there's the Gargoyle shielding up. Interesting, whenever the Gargoyle shields its allies for 15, a total of 15, it gets a free sidekick, which is additional damage. So whenever an ally, like it's Nosferatu or the Grimoire, for example, hit me, it also attacked me because the sidekick triggered. So, as you can see, Nosferatu is doing an AoE action. The Nosferatu is shielding again. I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to actually break it right here with the Leeching Strike. Get some poison, generate our Aether. We don't have the damage to kill this Nosferatu, it looks like, huh? Let's see if this helps out. I guess we'll see if we crit or not. Okay, there we go. I got rid of that. And since the Gargoyle is broken, we're just going to go over and hit it. It's okay, Nixie's taking a little chip damage. Nothing too worrisome. Alright, so the Gargoyle is doing that fist thumbnail. That's very scary because it'll shield itself and then hit for how much shield it has. We want that to die. So we're just going to heat. It should be enough damage to break it since we have +2. Yeah. Perfect. Flurry is enough to just kill it right out. And now we could do Leeching Strikes, break some poise, get some more poison on the enemy. Since it's doing a buff, I don't really care too much. I'm just going to do Fire Claws to hit as much and see if we could trigger some crits to get Toxic Assault to pop off again. And we do. As you can see, 10 stacks doing 24 damage instead is really nice. Now, we don't get the passive poison damage over turn, which kind of sucks, but it's not the worst thing. Because we could just trigger the poison right here and kill it, but we're going to now try to milk some worthiness out of our allies. We're going to hit here since we can't crit with our Cockatrice to get some more. And now we're going to Fire Claws. That's so interesting. With 13 stacks, you'd think I would be critting more than I would, but unfortunate. Alright. Every third Fire Aether generated by your allies is converted into wild. Oh, it's this thing. Yeah, we don't really care for that in this team. For every 3 burn, Fire Aether consumed by allies, put burn on all enemies. That's decent. And whenever an ally evades a hit, generates Wild Aether, or Wind Aether. If you have 5 or more Wind Aether, then generates Wild Aether. Funny enough, almost all our allies do have a form of evasion. 15%, 10%. And our Cockatrice gets dodge stacks from Flurry, so there is a decent chance that we could just generate some free wind Aether here, which could maybe turn into wild Aether. This one's also pretty decent. We are consuming with heat and fire claws or explosive bursts. Pretty good amount. Burn, unlike poison, does not go down a stack every time it triggers. Burn just stays on the enemy for the rest of the fight, so that's pretty good. Trying to contemplate which one I want here. Because they're only dodging because of the equipment. If I get better equipment down the road, then they may not be able to dodge. So I'm thinking I'm going to take the Burning Fire. Alright, perfect. We got Banner. Its base effect is you get 5 crit chance and evasion. Which, unfortunately, now sucks because we could have taken advantage of that trait I was thinking of picking up. But we have to drop something. So I like the boots on here. Although now that we think about it, increased damage or debuffs against enemies. I guess it'll apply to the burn too, huh? So maybe we do keep that. This is nice. Oh, it has healing +1. Okay, never mind. We just give that to Nixe right away. And I guess, yeah, we'll take the boots here because they'll increase the poison damage and burn damage going out. Alright. And like that, we got 8 gold. Now, obviously, that doesn't make up for the 2 gold after every fight if we had taken the Earth Blessing, but as long as we get a little lucky now, we should start racking up the gold. So we get close to 0 if we had taken it. But now we have the option of getting better equipment, which is way better as it scales us into. So as we can see, we're just taking a basic hit from the Domovoy, and the other 2 are buffing. Out of these enemies, Domovoys are the healers of this biome, kind of like the Mandragoras, so you definitely want to take it out if you can. I don't want this action to go through, so we're just going to hit it right here. Beautiful. Since we have no Aether to play around with, like, we have Earth and Wind, but we don't really use that too often. So here I'm going to show you, so deck of cards, we're going to get rid of these 4 Aethers and generate 7. So we got a +3 positive. And interestingly enough, I didn't even know that, but that triggered our Nixie's action, so now I could just use Flurry. I could just straight up kill this Grimoire. Actually, we will, because this Domovoy I know is healing. So this one might heal it out of range. So yeah, we're just going to kill it right away. Right there we saw our Flurry crits. Remember, Cockatrice doesn't have any crit chance, but now that we picked up the banner, it has a 5% chance to critically hit. So you got lucky there. It already is doing some work. So this Domovoy in the sensor is attacking my Tatzelworm. We're going to see if we could try to maybe kill it. First, we're going to set up and see how much damage output we have. Not that much. It has a lot of Aether, so I don't think we could even break it. So we're just going to see if we get any crits here. How much damage do we get? Okay, decent. Not enough to kill, so I think we're going to protect my Tatzelworm from building up corruption by doing Winter's Guard. Nice. As you can see, these guys are pretty chunky. They heal up and everything, making them very hard to kill. Both of them are attacking now this turn, so I would like to kill. So let's see. I'm actually going to do Toxic Healing since we have so much Aether. Triggers the poison, does double poison damage. Just going to heat up right here. See if I could just straight up kill the top one. We can, so we're going to go for that. Because the bottom one, or I guess the Censored Domovoy, is hitting my Cockatrice already, which we want that to happen. And now we're going to do Fire Claw since it hits the most, which has the higher chance of triggering our Toxic Assaults. Unfortunately, we did not crit one more time. Alright, we actually got to trigger our signature trait on our Cockatrice finally. That usually never happens. So that's nice to see. Just going to use Restore, get some healing, because the fight is over this turn. Eat. Now, our Cockatrice can crit here and win, so let's see what happens. Okay, thankfully we did not crit. I know that sounds weird because you usually do want to crit, but remember we were trying to get as much worthiness. So now we could hit with our Tassel Worm. We just need 1 crits, which will trigger the poison and just kill it right away. So yeah, farming that worthiness. We're getting close to level 2 as you could see, so that's good. Nixe has almost like a cheat code since it's a healing type. It has a very high chance to just get there quicker than the rest. Alright, so Vampiric Seed is basically Leeching Strike, but upgraded. As you can see, it does 2x3 and heals all allies for 6. Vampiric Seed does 3x2 and heals all allies by 10. So that's a nice little upgrade if we want that. We have Wild Ritual. It uses all Aether, but generates 3 wild and applies power to self. Nixe really isn't going to be doing that much damage to give it that. This one applies 2 dodge to an ally and then generates 2 Aether. That's pretty good. Fortunately, it's not a free action. As you can see, our Nixe is missing a free action, so if we could get a free action on it, that would be much more preferred. So let's see what we get. Alright, beautiful. So we get Snow Charm. It heals the ally, shields them. That's pretty good. But we also get Smog. Puts 2 poison on all monsters. This includes us, by the way. So be careful about that. But I believe with Incubation, this applies, yeah, this applies to both allies and enemies. So the Smog is technically just a buff for us because we're getting poison on all the enemies and it doesn't trigger on us. I don't recall if the enemy has a way to trigger poison on us. So Smog is just really good. Out of these two, I'd rather take out the Wolpensinger. We have Earth actions to get it out of there. While the Grimoire has a fat 8. So it takes a while to take that down. Ooh, it's doing AoE right away? Okay, that's interesting. Let's see. Well, we're definitely smogging. That's just free crit chance for Tatzelworm. Going to do Leeching Strike here. See where the poison lands. Unfortunately lands on Domovoy. That's the worst outcome. Going to hit here, see if we get lucky with a crit. We do. But remember, poison does not trigger at the start of turn. So we're actually going to use our card here to generate some Aether. Hopefully we get enough to use Winter's Guard to shield our allies from the AoE. So that's nice. So that's like a downside of Incubation. Like, it would have triggered and stopped that Wolpensinger from going off. So there are moments where you kind of regret picking it, but overall, it is a good pick, as you'll see in boss fights. We'll be killing the bosses a lot quicker than we should because of picking that. So now we could take advantage of Smog here because of toxic healing. Remember, poison does double damage now, so all these enemies are taking double the poison damage. Very, very strong. So now our Nixe goes into support into also a mini damage dealer. We have Flurry. We're going to hit really hard. Maybe we get lucky and crit. No? Okay. Out of these enemies, I'm going to kill the Domovoy because it's trying to heal. And I don't want it to heal. Okay, we didn't kill it, but we canceled its action. So now it's forced to do basic attacks. So yeah, from here, Smog is just racking up. Doing really good. I'm going to hit the Grimoire. And regardless of what happens, we are just going to do Explosive Burst to break its poise. That thankfully kills it. Domovoy is healing, while that Wolpensinger is attacking me, so I'm going to kill him. I don't really care that the Domovoy is healing, because it's just going to die next turn. Once again, there would have been a benefit to have poison naturally trigger, because it would have just died to the poison, but it's all good. So yeah, I think right here we're just going to generate some more Aether and heal. So our Nixe gets as much XP as I could possibly get. See if we get lucky with a crit or not. No crits. Okay, all good. Well, with 17 stacks, I mean, we should just crit and stop. Yeah, yep. Trigger all that poison. 46. Beautiful. And there we go! We got level 2 with Nixe. I think that got changed. I don't remember Nixe getting evasion, but another choice or discovery. We're picking the other option where we would evade and have a chance of getting free wild Aether is biting me in the butt, huh? But we live with the choices we make. Alright, so on crit applies 2 poison to the target, triggers poison on target enemy. Ooh. It's actually pretty decent. It's a water earth action. We have chain lightning on crit. We get some more hits. I don't think we have a free action, do we? I don't. But I remember on our last run, me picking this up kind of botched my Tatzelworm, so I don't think we're gonna pick this. Let's see what else we could get. Because Viral Burst isn't that appealing to me. Oh, we could pick up Smog. Smog's good. As you're seeing. Stone Edge gives us a better earth attack. The first hit is a critical hit. On crits, we apply Bleed. Bleed is really good because it does wild damage, so it helps us break poise. And then we could pick up the Firestorm. On crits, triggers burn on the enemy. I think I'm just going to take the Smog free action. It's just really good. Plays into what we're doing. We did all 3 fights. There's no events that I didn't go to. Let's see. We could get a random loot, random NPC, or an artifact. I'm going to go for the artifact because I like to have consistency on my early runs whenever I play roguelike games, so I could start winning and get more meta progression resource, aka Aether Crystals in this game, and then I could go for RNG options. Let's see. Lots of little goodies around to just pick up. That was nice. Alright, let's see. We could pick an artifact. So we could take the Chromatic Scroll. This helps us just break 3 poise on the enemy. Really cute. Or we could take Shielding Dust. Sometimes I don't always have the opportunity to do Winter's Guard. So this could help us just shield. Both of these are good. Out of these 2 options, I like the Shielding Dust. We're going to skip that fight real quick and come over here because I know you have a chance to get a upgrade. We get 1 XP for our Cockatrice, which is enough to level it up. So we get Glimmer, which we had before. Puts 2 dodge on someone and then generates 2 Aether. Explosive Rush, really cute. I like it. Reflective Trap applies 2 dodge and retaliates for more wind damage. This is really nice if you have already a natural way to get redirect, or a free action that would give us redirect. Fortunately, I did not take that. So a lot of nice pieces, but they just don't go together. You know, out of these, I think I'm just going to take the Explosive Rush. When I don't need to tank, or when I could just break the poise of an enemy, this is much better. Gives me access to 2 elements that I'm not even attacking with, fire and water, so yeah, we'll take that. Out of these enemies, Nosferatu, like I said, is the scariest one. We also have a new enemy, Shambler, on the very top. It usually does supportive actions, and then it starts to get scary around like round 3 to 4. Funny enough, I say that, and then it's just hitting me right away with an attack. So, so much for what I just said, huh? We're gonna start off with Smog, and we're just gonna go. Actually, we're gonna Smog again because we have 2 Smogs now. Increases my chance of critically hitting, and we are just going to pray I get 1 critical hit on the Nosferatu to break its poise. And we did. Beautiful. Okay. I go Winter's Guard, because we are getting hit on both sides. Yeah, I think we'll just do that. Play it safe. Apply to redirect, give me +1 temporary power. And I don't really need the healing. I think we're just going to basic attack and generate some Aether for next turn. Ooh, those are pretty big hits. Alright. Shambler is still attacking, but it's hitting our Cockatrice, but it does have the redirect arrow, so I am going to have to hit it. So we're going to put some Smog out, increase the poison and crit chance here. I want to eat up that redirect, so we're going to hit the Nosferatu, which I was originally going to do, but then I noticed the Shambler has that, so I need to crit here. Beautiful. So now that eats it up, so my Cockatrice can now attack it. And with 3 attack stacks, that should be enough for Explosive Rush to just kill it. Yep. You got lucky and got that 1 crit. Beautiful. I'm not sure if this is going to heal before this takes the burn damage, so we're just going to kill this. Not risk this getting healed up. Alright. Do a smog here. Smog here. I'm actually curious, how much does toxic healing do? Obviously it does double damage, but it doesn't like seem that way, right? Because we were at 18 poison stacks. Oh yeah, I guess it does, right? 18, and then it does double the damage, so 36, and then the enemy's broken, so it does half of that, which is 54. 54. Why are we getting 3 extra damage? Is it this? Maybe it's this. Yeah, it could be that. Alright. Domovoy is hitting us. I'm gonna hit here with my Tasselworm first, see if we trigger that Toxic Assault to just kill it. Beautiful. And then, yeah, we could just do Explosive Rush here and do the most amount of damage. Get our worthiness going. Beautiful. Alright. Those two are about to be level 2. A Monster's Soul. That's great for runes. Oh. I was trying to sneak past the enemies because there was a purple that we could get the height advantage and get more poise break, but unfortunately we failed in doing that. As we see, we're getting hit twice. Let's smog it up. I'm just going to use almost all our Aether and then use the card to get back a bunch. Or I guess we triggered that, but we're not using it. Oh. I forgot I used this early. I thought it was before the boss fight. Oopsies. Well, I guess this is a good one to showcase the shielding dust. Yeah, I think this is the last run for today. We're not thinking straight. We're making noob mistakes, as you could see. I mean, I did do basically 2 3-hour runs back to back, so, you know. Your boy's a little out of it. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention the new enemy, Mephisto. It has a 32 stack, as you can see at the bottom of the enemy's Aether on the right hand side. That's because every 10 stacks of debuff on all enemies, including us, it has an increased damage and dodge chance. So if you can, it's ideal to kill Mephisto first when using a debuff team, because it's just getting stronger the more debuffs I'm putting out there. So, for that, I think we're going to do Winter's Guard and cleanse some of the debuff on my side to lower its stacks. And then I'm going to do Toxic Healing because we took a bunch of damage. Trigger the poison on the enemies. Get them into kill range, maybe. Yeah, we're not stopping that, are we? Then again, if I do get one crit, I purge it and it doesn't do its action. Let's see. Okay, we got double crits. Beautiful. It should not do it, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. Good dodge. Banner putting in work. Alright, we have 5 stacks on our Domovoy. It's gonna hit like a truck. Yeah, that's hitting so hard. Oh, the Mephisto is just gonna die to burn damage, so I don't really care for it. I'm gonna do Leeching Strike here, just kill this out. Yeah, we're just disrespecting the Mephisto at this point. And then we're just gonna go kill the Domovoy over here, because the odds of us not critting are so low that it just won't happen. Because remember, burn triggers when you use an action, and it was doing an action, and it had more burn stacks than HP, so it just killed itself. Alright, so we have initial dodge +1, so that means we start the fight with a dodge stack. Not the biggest bonuses out of all what we could get, but it does help its survivability. So this one's pretty good. For every 50 healing, we generate 1 Wild Aether. This one's amazing. Debuffs deal 4 more damage against enemies. Since we are using a mixture of burn and poison, it's just double dips. And it is an aura, so it affects all our allies. And it's actually the best that you get it on your support, because you want your damage dealers and tanks to get, damage dealing and tank traits so they could better perform. So we're going to take this one. Polluted Aether is good, but Fatal Upkeep is just better. So remember how I said, like, where we got that 3 damage from when we did 57 instead of doing the 54 we were supposed to? Fatal Upkeep's just going to make that damage gap even bigger. Let's see, on support action, heals the ally with the lowest amount, and basic attacks generate 1 extra Earth Aether. That's decent, but I like what we have so far. Alright, so we're fighting 2 Mephistos. That's really scary, considering we are a debuff team, and they benefit off of us. This one's going to be a longer / slower fight. Let's see, we're going to do Smog, of course. I'm going to do Restore, actually, because I need to generate some Aether. Okay, beautiful. And then I'm going to start trying to chip away at this one at the bottom, just because it has lower poise than the top one. Not the strongest turn one, but it's all good. Just gonna basic attack. Like I said, we're trying to kill this bottom one if we can. Fortunately, the Domovoy did heal, so didn't make some of what we just did irrelevant. Ooh. As you can see, they're hitting pretty hard, thanks to the debuffs on the enemies hurting me. But that's not going to stop me. We're going to do Smog again. We're actually going to heal. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to heal. I'm going to heat. I guess let's see if I crit here or not. Okay, beautiful. So yeah, that's just dead. Nixie's getting hit, but she's a big girl. She could eat that. Alright, so since we're low on HP, we're gonna do Smog first. And then we're just going to heal up our Tatzelworm. Trigger to poison on the enemies. And as you can see, this is just snowballing. We're just wrecking now. Now, just in case I do get unlucky here, we'll first cleanse the debuffs on our side to reduce the stacks on the enemy Mephisto, which we reduced by 10, which is great. Puts it down a tier, so I could then use Fire Claws, and we hit. It didn't dodge a single one. That's actually pretty lucky. And yeah, that's just dead. Alright, still not level 2, huh? Okay. Okay, we can get this. It only triggers once, so if we crit 4 times, this still only triggers once. Earth actions from allies gets poison. That's nice. Crit on crits, we get bleed. Now this one, per crit, we get a bleed stack. This is pretty good, so we're actually going to take that. As long as this monster has redirect, we get shielding the fence. Whenever an enemy gets attacked for the second time in the same turn, triggers burn on them. This is good. The only thing is, how am I getting burned to begin with? The only way is through consuming burn stacks, so it doesn't have immediate effects, but throughout the course of a fight, it could trigger. Yeah, so all of these require me to get this active first. Think we could get something better, so let's see. Ah, that's what I'm thinking of. Return to Aether. Retaliate generates random Aether. This with Cockatrice just goes together like peanut butter and jelly, because Cockatrice wants to be retaliating, and one of the biggest issues with any team is Aether generation, and this just solves that problem, so yeah, easy. Heat is going to hit us and generate that. Our Explosive Rush is going to hit us and generate that. It's just really good all around. Alright, so right here is pretty good. While we are getting beneficial effects from dodging to stay alive and increasing debuff damage, we already have Fatal Upkeep. And the Skull, we have a 20% chance whenever we apply a debuff, which is the poison stacks we're already putting out, we could apply another one. It also increases our fire damage by 1. Our main damage source right now is Fire Claws because it hits 4 times. So this will go to 4-3. So that's really nice. So we're just going to take that. What was the point of that? Alright, so if you ever see an NPC, they'll have this like glowy stardust around them. And you usually want to talk to them when you defeat every enemy in the zone, because they will cleanse your corruption by 2. Alright, so we have a boss fight. Let's see. Aether Cycle's good, Incubation's good, Fatal Upkeep's good, Smog, perfect, yeah. I like everything on Nixe, good. We want to crit, we want to apply poison, and then we trigger with Incubation does good. This increases our chance to crit. Every 3 crits gives us Wild Aether. This scales with critting and that, so yeah, it's just really nice. Smog is good. Yeah, everything here is good. Incorruptible is good. I guess Burning Fire is probably the weakest one here. We could probably change that for maybe something else. Return to Aether is good. Explosive Rush is good. Winter's Guard. I guess we could, yeah. Let's reroll Burning Fire and see if we could get something better. Now the question is, what am I looking for? That I don't know. But I feel like there could be something better in there. No, Burning Fire. Okay, so we could get taunts at the start of combat. We get 2 redirect and shield ourselves. That's okay. This one on dedicated support actions, which is Winter's Guard. We apply dodge to ourselves, unshield each ally for 3. This is actually pretty decent, because when we are doing Winter's Guard, I am getting redirects, which will take advantage of that dodge stack we're applying. So that is good. And Winter's Guard is already shielding our allies, and this shields them a little more, especially if there's AoE going out. So yeah, I like Conceal. I think that's good. Alright, here's the second boss. No height advantage. Alright, so our Nixe has 18 corruption. That can look scary, but remember, Nixe can heal, so it's not that big of a deal. Alright, so the main gimmick with Star Spawn is every turn it picks a random element, and then if you use that element or itself uses that element, it gains a wild Aether. So that's pretty bad. You don't want to give the enemy free Aether if you could help yourself. So we're going to try to avoid using water actions. So the only way I could heal, technically, so we have to basically use Winter's Guard. So I'm going to do Heat. And we are using a Wind, but I do need to mitigate the damage going on our Nixe since I can't heal, so we'll just mitigate the damage going out. And now we go back to our regular tune of smogging. We just double smog. I'm going to basic attack to get some Aether for next turn. And I can Toxic Slash here to reduce its poise, but with this team comp, our main win condition is just doing a bunch of poison damage. So I'm just going to fish for crits to trigger Toxic Assault. Remember, when we crit, we also get the bleed, which counts as wild damage. And that is help breaking the poise as well. Nice. Dodge from the banner. So now it picked Wind, and as you can see, it's doing AoE and a single target snipe. We're just going to do Smog again. I can do this, which I will. 32 damage, build up some more there. Gonna do Heat. Unfortunately, since it is doing AoE, I do want to do Winter's Guard, or I could use the Shielding Dust. I think we'll use the Shielding Dust, try to reduce the amount of wild Aether it's getting, and I am just going to hit it with a Flurry to reduce that wind poise. Get that smog out, try to get that poison as high as we can. And then, of course, hit it with Fire Claws. Fish for crits to trigger Toxic Assaults, get some bleed going. So yeah, as you see, we haven't even broken its poise yet, and it's almost dead. That's incubation and poison for you. Lovely. It picked poison. Or earth, sorry. That is unfortunate for us, because we do heavily rely on earth. But I think we're at the point in the fight where I don't care. We're just going for the kill, so I'm going to do Toxic Healing here. Get a bunch of damage, help break that poise. I'm going to do Heat, trigger our return to Aether, get a free Aether, get our swords up. See how much damage we could deal here. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna smog here. And since we can break the Aether, let's see. Fish for crits first. Beautiful, triple crits. Yeah, that's one dead Star Spawn. So yeah, That's the beauty about incubation. Sometimes you just don't care about the enemy's poise. You just do so much damage that you kill them through it. And lovely, we got level 2 worthiness, so poison damage goes up by 1, which is really nice, as that is our main win condition. Now that's usually good with regular poison damage that triggers at the end of each turn. This one only triggers when we do it, so it's not the biggest. Fatal upkeep is still better, but you know, every extra point of damage does help out. Unfortunately, our Nixe will never not see corruption because she just cannot cleanse all 18 she has. We can pick up an equipment. Unfortunately, these are not that good. So I'm going to take a soul, and we'll take another deck of cards because artifacts are nice, and having soul to use, especially in Biome 3, is very nice because they have some pretty good events that require soul. So we could do a random NPC, a random loot, or an artifact. I'm going to go with the artifact. Now, sometimes, just like the knight, the NPC can give us a chance to upgrade an existing artifact and refresh the charge of our artifact. So, since we don't know what it'll do, I prefer to get into at least a fight or two and use an artifact or two charge, at least one charge. So that way, if we do reset, we have a higher chance of getting some more value. Now, this pact is scary. This biome is actually scary for our team because of Omits. So I'm actually going to focus down Omits. Medusa is also scary because we are putting a bunch of debuffs and then it cleanses the debuffs. So let's go over the monsters and your threats. So for this biome, you're going to have Medusa. Since our team relies on putting poison stacks and then capitalizing on that, Medusa is scary because every time you hit it, it has Retaliate, which it cleanses a debuff, and when it cleanses 5, it does a big AoE hit on all of us and puts 4 random debuffs. So, as you can tell, that's pretty rough on my team. We have Nixe. It does not attack you at all, but it does buff its allies and it applies Sidekick, which then attacks you. So, if you could kill its 2 allies, then Nixie's an easy kill. But if you can't, then Nixe becomes a threat as well. But then you have Amit, which you can see, has a big whopping 141 HP pool. And unlike your normal regeneration that applies at the start of their turn, Amit's regeneration applies when it attacks. So if it's hitting you for 3x7, 21, and then the regeneration triggers, that's 10% of its HP, that's 14. So you're getting hit for 35 damage. And as you can see by my health pool, 40, 35, 50, 2 of us almost just get one shot. So as you can see, Amit is very scary for my team, and I'm going to need to take him out ASAP. So let's see what we could do here. Get some smog out. We're going to see if I get lucky with 1 crits. Unfortunately, I do not. We're going to see... we're actually going to smog here first. And now see if I get lucky with maybe a crits to get rid of a Aether. Beautiful. And we got the wild on it. So remember, wild damage will break that poise at its turn. And yeah, I think I'm just going to continue damaging Amit to try and kill it, because I'm afraid of Amit. It healed its ally, and now I'm getting hit, and then the sidekick's going to trigger. As you saw, look at that. We just took 18 damage. Very scary. This biome is pretty rough. Unfortunately, Medusa is doing AoE damage, and I have to respect that, so... Let's see. Ooh. We have Fire Claws. I'm gonna see if we can maybe break its poise. If I get lucky. 1, 2. Not quite. Because the wild damage is just going to bring it down to 1. So I am going to have to take it out of its misery. I was hoping to not do that, but obviously we didn't get lucky, so we had to. Going to just hit the Amit while it's broken for some extra damage. And as you can see right here, that would have been 21 and the 15 heal. Luckily, we had some dodge stacks, so our cockatrice was not in immediate danger. But yeah, as you can see, this guy is really hard for me to kill. I don't have a good wind action to break its poise. And it's going to hit my Talzorm. My Talzorm is dead if this goes through. I need to either break it or kill it right here, or I'm in big trouble. Come on, crits. Alright, got 3. Okay, that's enough burst damage that I can now secure the kill with explosive. Thank God. Alright, and like I said, Nixe is now basically useless because her allies are dead. Therefore, Nixie's sidekicks can activate, so yeah, it's just a free win now. But yeah, that that was scary. We had Medusa and Amit. If we had a double Amit fight, I think we would have lost an ally. If we had a double Medusa, I think we would have got out, but we would have definitely been severely hurt. So yeah, Biome 3. Not really that good for my team that we built here. Very scary. Very, very scary. See if we get some crits. Beautiful. And we get an extra XP because we're on Biome 3 now. We get 3 instead of 2. Applies 3 poison to self and enemy. So that's a free heal if I need it. This is some damage and poisoning the enemy. And it gets us an Aether. This is free healing. Once you have 4 actions, you have the option of just not taking any and just taking 5 max HP. I think we'll take the 5 max HP because we need to survive. Alright, what do we have here? 10% chance to crit. If I crit, I apply bleed to the enemy. That's nice. It adds a wind action, which we don't currently have, so that could help out. It also is part fire, which does get boosted by our skull. So there are some synergies. The crit also can be beneficial with our skull, so lots of synergy there. This one, 3x4, puts 8 poison on the enemy. And then this one's a free action that puts poison. So out of all of these, it looks like Lightning Assault might be the way to go. Unfortunately, I don't have that much Aether to always do Lightning Assault, while I do have the Aether to always do Fire Claws. But now that we think about it, I don't even know if we're ever using Explosive Burst ever again, so I could get rid of that for a Lightning Assault. And if we have the Aether, I could use it. Yeah, I'll take it. Thinking. Obviously, it's ideal I'd get rid of Fire Claws and just put this on, but like I said, we don't always have the Aether for Lightning Assault. I think I'll still do it, it's just the better choice. I'd rather keep the Explosive Burst for Water Poise if I need it. Ooh, we found a blue plant. So the blue plant's really good as it gives you experience and waits your next level up to give you a action or trait, depending on what you're going to learn, to be of the type you pick. So out of these three, when I get to level 8, I have a chance of getting a trait. I think we're going to give that to our Tatzelworm, and I have a one in mind that I want. I want a critical trait. So once we get to level 8, there's a high chance I just learn it, and then our Tatzelworm becomes really good. So we'll see how that works out. Alright, so right here we have Surskits and Naga. Out of these three enemies, I'm afraid of Naga. Naga, in one of my just regular runs that I did on the channel, one-shot my tank, which was funny enough our Cockatrice, so Cockatrice may not remember it because it's a different save file, but I do. And Naga hits like a truck. So, Naga is really scary because of this move right here, Flame Skewer. 1 by 28, so it just does 28 damage. If it has the Force buff, it does an additional 5 per stack. And if I have a shield, it does another 5. So as you can see, if you have these two active just one stack and I have a shield, which I usually do with Cockatrice when I'm trying to mitigate, that's 38 damage. And the Force buff, it guarantees you critically hit. So as you can see, it goes from 38 to what? 57? We're basically dead. So yeah, Naga's scary. You don't want to mess around with that thing. Alright, so let's see. We're going to use up Aether and probably use the wild card to get back Aether. Actually, this fight's bad for our Smog because the unique signature trait of the Surskits is if you attack them and they have a shield, it triggers poison on us. Now, this usually isn't an issue because, you know, the user doesn't have poison on them, but since I'm self-inflicting poison on myself, we will have poison for them to trigger, so that's funny. We unfortunately don't have enough to use this, so I will use the deck of cards to try to get it. Okay, and we failed with the RNG generation. Unfortunate. We'll see if we could pop this, I guess. Okay, that's good. Oh, nice. It also canceled the Naga's actions. So, very nice. Perfect. And it hits us, which gives us another temporary power. Perfect. Alright. So all of them are doing a support action, so my Cockatrice is able to attack this turn and help us kill them. Which is exactly why I picked Explosive Rush. But out of all these options, we're still going to try to snipe that Naga down, because, yeah, your boy got PTSD from Nagas. So, we're going to hit here with Lightning Assaults. Beautiful quad crits. Skull activating the bleed, the poison. Mwah. Chef's kiss. That was absolutely amazing. Oh, if we could kill this, we kill this. Really good. And yeah, we'll just do some poise damage here. So next turn, we could break it. As you can see, it did trigger our poison. So we took the damage there. So we got 6 poise on it. I don't think we could break that. We have Explosive Rush. Forgot about that. The Explosive Rush is going to be really helpful here in helping us break this. See if we get maybe 1 crit by the banner. No? Okay, all good. I'm not going to do Smog, as that's only helping it do more damage to me. Okay, now that it's broken and it has no shield, we can Smog. And then we're going to Lightning Assaults. See if we could get those crits to get the bleed and the poison triggering. So yeah, Lightning Assaults was a really good pickup. Alright, level 7. Consumes 2 burns. We're hardly any getting burned, so that's not really gonna happen. If enemy has burn, applies dodge to all allies. That's good. Otherwise, applies 3 poison. 3 burn. That's good. The only downside is it costs the same Aether that I want my Tatzelworm to be using. And then this one heals someone and then puts 3 dodge on them. Out of all this, I think I'm just going to take the 5 max HP. None of those are really benefiting what I'm trying to do. Ooh, we got Epic. Void Crystals, nice. That is an artifact of Epic tier, which is really lucky. That's a secret area you can access. Alright, what do we have here? Just Naga, right? Yeah, we just killed Naga. There is a Tatzelworm, but I believe wild Tatzelworms don't have a way of triggering poison. Actually, we could check that. Although, I guess if I put Smog on myself, it increases crit chance, which will kill me quicker. Let's just check that. I have not looked at a wild Tatzelworm. What do they have? Yeah, they don't have a way of triggering poison, so it'll just mean they'll crit me more, but yeah, that's about it. That's fine. Okay, let's get a Smog out. And another Smog. And then we go for some crits here. Beautiful. Look at that. We almost just killed it. Isn't that amazing? Actually, right here, with Explosive Rush, I'm going to hit this. See if we get, you know, lucky with a crit or 2. If I get lucky here with a crit, we do pop this. See? Unfortunately, no crits. Okay, there's the Smoggin. It does crit on me quite a bit. Ooh! See what I'm talking about? It gets crazy out here. Good thing poison does not trigger at the start of the turn, or we were dead. Get that Smog rolling. Get that heat. Giving me a free Aether. And that temporary power. Yeah, we're just gonna kill this. Explosive Rush this. Get me back an Aether. Get that Smog rolling. Yeah, I guess we could heal up. Not that I need to, but just to get that worthiness, maybe we get a level 3. I don't think we've ever had a level 3 so far in the series with Cherufe and Jotun, so that'll be pretty cool to see. Yeah, like I said, if you take out the allies of Sphinx, Sphinx can't do anything. It's just a sitting duck now. It's just slowly waiting for us to kill it. I want my Tatzelworm to get the kill. I want it to get to level 8. I want its worthiness to maybe see if we could get level 3. Its level 3 worthiness bonus is really good, but I don't know if we'll be able to hit that. Yeah, I mean, he is the furthest one behind, huh? Damn. Alright, so whenever an ally is healed to full HP, it cleanses 2 corruption on them, healing +1. That's decent. Whenever allies apply 5 or more poison in the same turn, applies regen to each ally. Now that's something I could get behind. That's pretty good. Free healing for just doing what I'm already doing. Whenever we get... yeah, so yeah, we'll just take toxic healing. That's good. Okay. Whenever regen triggers on an ally, shields them for 5. Your allies gain 15 crit chance for each regeneration stack on them. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to get that. This isn't what I was thinking, so let's re-roll. Ooh, that's unfortunate. We didn't get what I was looking for. So allies, their critical chance also increases their evasion, so that's good for survivability. This gives us slight increased crit chance when we do finally get burned. And allies have a 25% crit chance against enemies with bleed, since we are applying bleeds with splatter from our crits. This will benefit all allies, and whenever an enemy dies that has bleed stacks, half of those go to the next enemy, so we'll take that. Not the trait I was thinking of taking. I was looking for Sleighted Hands, if anyone's watching and you have played before, but out of those options, that was the best one to take, so we just take that and roll with it. We are going to go back now and talk to this NPC, see what we get. Oh, see, look, trade in. So we could trade in for an upgrade. Since we already have one of these, let's see, what is the trade-in? So we could take an Epic Shielding Dust, an Epic Horn, applies 2 power instead of 1, that's crazy. This one heals all ally for 15, cleanses 5 debuffs from them. Out of all these options, I think I'm going to take the Epic Horn, that just helps us scale quicker to win. 2 power may not seem that much, but when we're hitting like 4 times, that's a big deal. So unfortunately, we got the Rolling Pin, which is the Cook. This is one of my favorite NPCs to go to, but we can't go to it. Like I said, Merchant, you should never go to it. And we have the option of the Aether Spring, so you want to go to the Aether Spring. Especially in this zone, because in Biome 3, you get a special effect. I mean, all of them, I guess, can be viewed as special effects, but you'll see when we pick it up. So, our monsters gain fire damage +1, or every 3 turns we get 1 power. Since Nixe doesn't really care about power, our Cockatrice and Tasselworm would like power, so that's nice. But all fire damage deals 1 more damage. At the moment, that affects our Burst, our Assault, and my Explosive Rush. That's really good. Because instead of waiting for turn 3 to get that bonus on all damage, we could just get it right away and finish fights quicker. So I think I'm going to take that instead. Common item. Nope, not even thinking about that. Okay, so Sphinx, Circuit, or Medusa. Like I said, if I had to pick between them, Medusa was the scariest one. Want to try to get in and out of that fight as quick as possible. Fortunately, we have bad Aether generation, so we'll see what this heat generates for us. If it gets us a water, that's good. And it gives us a wind. Unfortunate, I can't make much use of that. So we're going to do smog here. Smog here. And out of the leftover Aethers, we could do a water strike here, actually. And now I'm... actually, we could use this one instead. Ooh, this generates 3 instead of 2. That's really good. Because I was just looking for this. See ya. Oh, look at that. All those crits. Oh my god, poppies. That's basically dead because next turn's taking the bleed damage. So we could just shift some of our damage over here with Explosive Rush. Fortunately, no crits. But that was beautiful. Very good, strong turn 1 thanks to that fire damage +1. Like I said, man, sometimes it may not seem like, oh, it's just +1 damage. Who cares? It could make all the difference. We're just going to double smog. I'm actually going to give this one to Cockatrice with the Explosive Rush. Break this, triggers the 5 hit on itself. See what kind of Aether we generate with that. Beautiful. Heal him up, and then trigger the Toxic Heal, which should kill the Surskit. Yep, beautiful synergy. And then the Splatter brings over all that bleed, and then we just kill this. Alright, the team looks pretty good. Looks like it's gonna work. Alright, one last trait. We already seen these two. Whenever an ally evades a hit, I think we're gonna take that now. Getting some free Wind Aether, especially now that we picked up Lightning Assault, we definitely want some Wind Aether. Alright, so that gave us some money and Aether Crystals. Beautiful. Out of these packs, I mean, they all synergize with Poison, but I'm mostly afraid of Medusa, so... If we could kill a Medusi, we kill the Medusi. Or the Medusi. Alright, heat it up. Alright, we generated a water, which is great. That allows me to use Eruption. Or Eruption. Explosive Rush. We're gonna double smog it, of course. And then we're going to use the Epic Void Crystal, because that was an amazing random find we got. Break you. It's just dead to the poison, the bleed next turn. Try to see if we could break this Tatzelworm. Unfortunately, we did not get one crit, so very unfortunate. Maybe we get a crit or two here? No? Okay. Ooh, that Tatzelworm's hitting my Tatzelworm. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it's gonna crit us. Woo, boys, that was close. Son of a gun. Almost killed us. Just gonna heal up now. That Tatzelworm, I believe, is dead to the bleed. We'll see. If it's not, it should be from the splatter carrying over the bleed to it. So yeah, that's 11 bleed. That should carry over 5. Oh, it carries over... Oh, interesting. I wonder if the reapplication of the splatter also has a chance of Skull triggering on it. Because that looks like what happened, huh? Ooh, an Epic Belt. On interrupt, applies power to self. Ooh. Crit chance and burn damage increases by 1. That is a good item. But I'm gonna have to pass on it. I kind of like what we have. This item just gives someone max HP. That's obviously going on our Tatzelworm because it has the lowest HP. I don't want Tatzelworm to die. It's basically the carry of the group. If Tatzelworm goes down, we lose the run. So, all right, we're at the boss fight. Was there anything I missed? Yeah, we missed an event over here. Oh. We're just gonna exchange for some gold. Thank you very much. Ooh, we would have missed the gold behind there. Alright, boss fight time. So I could go and maybe upgrade an equipment that I'm using. Or we could go to the witch. Let's see. I generally like this. I would have preferred sleighted hands, but I mean, now that we're getting the splatter going and stuff, it's not bad. And yeah, this is decent. So yeah, I think out of all of these, I would rather try to upgrade my skull or my drum. So let's see if the knight is kind to us and gives us the RNG of upgrade. Because it's not guaranteed. Ooh, so it trades in, so you're... I'll trade in the banner out of anything. Because you're not guaranteed to get, like, an upgraded banner. It's just a random out of all the equipment. So out of all of them that I wouldn't mind losing would probably be the banner. And yeah, there you go. So now we get the Ocarina. So on support actions, we heal an ally with 7 HP. Regeneration heals for 3 more, and we get a temporary power. Kind of mid. We could take the Skull, which increases the poison that we put out. It increases our HP by 5. And whenever we hit, we have a 15% chance to put poison. That seems good. Or we could take the Tome. Every time we do single target hits, we could put 2 weakness on them. The first Aether we generate is Wild. My basic generates a Wind Aether, and healing increases by 3. So these two are the ones I'm thinking of. I might lean towards the Tome just because it helps with weakness. Weakness is damage mitigation, lowers damage by 3. So yeah, we'll take that. Alright. Biome 3's boss. Heck, something jiggy. I don't know. We just come here and we do some work on it though. Alright. So it's doing an AoE action right away. That's lovely. Alright, let's just do double smog, because we're going to do that. Alright, so I can do this, so I'm going to do that instead. I could heal up the damage we take next turn if it's significant, because I really want to get the bleed on the enemy. So my other allies increase their crit chance. Yeah, that was just really nice. Yeah, just hit it as hard as we can. Get some more poison on it while reducing the damage it's about to do with some weakness. Nice. Keep hitting the cockatrice. I wanted to get a bunch of attack stats. Alright, hitting my Nixe, which is fine. Gonna put some poison on it. Alright, let's get some more power. 2 power returns crazy. $54 damage right there, really good. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna hit it. Since my Nixe is taking damage, I think we'll just preemptively heal and trigger that poison again. Yeah, 58 damage. It's good. Ooh. Alright, round 3. I think we kill it. Let's see. Is that true? Smoggies. Yeah, each turn we got to apply 2 power. That's beautiful. Fortunately, we weren't able to break its poise, it looks like, huh? That's unfortunate. Hmm. Hmm. Gonna heal our Nixe and trigger that poison once more real quick. And then just hit it here. Maybe get 1 crit? No? Oh yeah, we got rid of the banner, so we can't even crit. Okay. Okay, well, there we go. The Wild Bleed breaking its poise, triggering the burn. Alright, well, we got Nixe to level 3. +1 healing is always nice. Okay, triggers poison on all monsters. Look at that keyword. It says all monsters. That includes us. That's not good. Maybe if I didn't have Smog, this would be good. But otherwise, no, you do not want this. You know what? I might take Viral Bloom. It triggers poison on all enemies. And yeah, if Cockatrice is doing a bunch of damage, Nixe can sometimes activate Viral Bloom and help out the team do more damage. So yeah, I'll take that. What are we not using? I mean, we technically use all of them every once in a while, but it probably restores the least used. What do we got here? Applies poison to all enemies and stuff. Nah. On crit, apply 2 poison to target, trigger poison on target enemy. That's cute, but kind of like what we're already doing. I think we're just chilling, so yeah. Nixe gets 2 XP, that's useless. Alright, let's go for the kill. Cleanse some of that corruption. Like I said, Nixe was never seeing 0. Talisman. Now this is a good effect. Gives us a chance to get regeneration whenever we do an action. Increases the damage of burn on the enemy. Increases crit damage. This is decent. I just don't have anyone I would really want this item on. Especially with the things we rolled, so... We'll just take that. There's no boss fights after this, or there's nothing else after this. This is the final boss of the run. At least as of making this video. Maybe if you're watching this in the future and they added an additional boss, then that's different. But this is the final boss, so you don't need to buy a soul. Alright. Remember, with this team, you're just trying to build up poison and then trigger toxic assaults, and you just kind of win. I'll leave this for you guys to see on your own run, so you don't see any spoilers, or at least too many. Alright, so the main gimmick on this fight is it has 2 hands, as you could see, and they have poise. You want to break those hands, otherwise every time you use an action, you get corruption, and then it consumes your corruption, heals itself, and then makes a clone of you. So you want to try to keep your corruption low, but obviously, sometimes you can't always do that. So don't beat yourself up if you get a bunch of corruption. You'll just have to deal with the clone it makes. We're gonna use smog here. I want to build up smog on our allies, because when it makes the clone, the clones also take the poison, and then I could just trigger the poison on the clones and kill them. At least that's my idea right now. I'm just going to basic attack and generate some Aether here. That'll allow me to now use Lightning Assault to hopefully break this hand. Beautiful, we got 1 crit. That's all we needed. It's such a weird interaction that it doesn't put the poison and stuff on the enemy. I really don't like that. The damage there didn't matter for a Metazoworm, but now I'm going to give it the damage. It looks like it's putting Terror on my Tazoworm and basic attacking my Nixe, so I'm just going to basic attack and generate some Aether for next turn done. Alright, so now our Nixe has that. Good for us that it put on Nixe, so now I could do Eat into Explosive Rush and break that arm. No, actually, we did not break that hand. It's left with 1, which is suck. That sucks. Alright, well, we're gonna get some corruption, I guess. Because I do want to build up smog on the boss. Now we break the hand. It is attacking me, so I'm actually going to shield just in case anything goes scary wrong. And then we'll just do some Lightning Assault to build up debuffs on the boss. Oh wow, great dodges. Beautiful. Alright, so here it is, consuming the corruption on our allies, and it's gonna start healing. So that's why, like, the damage you technically deal doesn't really amount to much, just because, it's just gonna heal a bunch of it. Alright, so we're gonna do double smoggies. I think we're gonna do the Viral Balloon Guard here. Looks like a good turn to trigger the poison on the enemies. Going to heat. And I'm going to Toxic Assault the boss. Try to get a bunch of bleed and poison ranking up on it and trigger. Because now we can kill the boss. Probably should have did this before I did that attack. That was a slight misplay. And I'm actually going to Winter's Guard here because I don't know how much damage we're going to be taking, so I want to reduce that if I can. That's good. It's doing smog. I like that. So every time a clone does an action, by the way, I forgot to mention that, you do... it does heal itself. I was hoping that the poison triggering would have killed it there, but I guess not. Ooh! Shit. That almost killed us. Alright. Let's see. We're gonna do Smog. Doing Smog again. And since my Tatzelworm is hurting, we're going to Toxic Heal, trigger to poison all the enemies and kill them. So that's really nice. We're gonna try popping this hand. Nice. Now we saw how much damage that did to my Tatzelworm. I'm afraid that that might kill my Nixe if that goes off, so we're gonna play it safe here, and we're gonna double shield. Whew. Alright, I believe this is the win. Pretty fun run. First time winning with Nixe on a fresh file. I enjoyed the experience. Definitely 10 out of 10 would recommend again. Beautiful, all those crits. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this run. If there's anything you don't understand, or maybe I didn't explain well enough, you know, just comment down below. I'd love to help out. And if you plan on picking maybe Cherufe or Jotun down the road, and you would like similar content, I already have that on the channel. And the next video will be about the last starters, so, you know, consider subscribing if you're enjoying these types of content. And I'll be making beginner guides instead of just doing a run and explaining stuff. So if you just want like a quick guide, that'll also be on the channel. And you can check out our last run with Jotun right here. Until the next video, I'll see ya.